It is August 2nd, 2019.
This is Nerd Bourbon episode 113. I'm Seth Sturgill.
And I am Todd Sturgill.
Well, let's get right into the news.
Fuck the rest of the show. News, bitch.
No, we do have a full plate this week, Todd. We've got plenty to talk about, including our thoughts on Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, including your thoughts on your first experience with Doom 3. We've got some new shows to announce, some new video content. We've been hard at work. We have got, indeed, plenty of news on the docket. And we're going to end the show by talking about our thoughts on the first half of 2019 in video games. We're going to talk about our favorite games of the first half of the year. So
Strap in. This is going to be a long one.
And we'll see. We'll go with the flow, Todd. Take my hand, Todd. We'll go on this journey together.
No.
Or we can take a more aggressive approach. Have at you, Todd.
Draw your sword, boy.
I'll slap you with my glove. It feels like, I know we do this show every week, but is it just me? Or does it feel like we haven't recorded like the show in a while?
You know what it is? It's because we've had such an eventful week.
We've done a lot this week.
I get what you're saying, because we've done a lot this week. I was actually thinking to myself, before we even started recording, I'm like, fuck, we've done a lot of shit.
So before we prepare the ritual, and before I ask you what you've been playing, let me just get a little bit of housekeeping out of the way here at the top. I want to talk about a new kind of series that I kind of haphazardly started on the YouTube channel this week called Seth's Speakeasy, which is sort of a idea that I was talking to Todd about forever ago. We talk about all the time, like, ideas for new shows and new things to do, and just we get excited about stuff sometimes. We have our little business meetings. We talk about content.
Nerd Bourbon North and Nerd Bourbon South.
Yeah, Nerd Bourbon Towers North, as I like to call it, Nerd Bourbon Towers South. And we have our correspondence every so often, and we go into our layers and we have our business meetings. And I forever ago had the idea of just like a short form 10 to 15 minute show where I just sort of talk directly to the camera, and I just sort of talk about like a specific topic that I have in mind that doesn't necessarily fit the mold of the main show. And that has now taken horrible fruition in the form of Seth's Speakeasy. So that is a show. We did our first episode this week. It's live now. You can go and watch it on the YouTube channel. It is about Smash Brothers. We obviously saw the release of the Dragon Quest hero in Smash this week, which is another thing we're going to talk about later in the show. It kind of had me thinking about future DLC releases for Smash, who I think the upcoming fighters are going to be, and that's what we talk about on the first episode of Seth's Speakeasy. So that's live now. You can go watch it. Please do. I encourage it. Aside from that, starting tomorrow at the time you're listening to this, we will begin a bi-weekly video series of Todd and I playing through the campaign of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. That will be happening every Saturday and Tuesday, starting on August 3rd. So look forward to that. We've got a good amount of videos, twice weekly. We're going to play through the entire campaign for your sick pleasure.
Sorry, I'm going to make a joke. It's already been played.
We've already recorded the entire series, yeah.
Yeah.
We've already played through the entire game, and we're definitely going to get into our thoughts on that game here in just a minute. But we recorded our entire playthrough, and obviously gave commentary over it. There's another thing you might actually notice. So in the first couple of episodes, we are kind of recording in the old style that we used to record in, and my audio quality used to suffer for it. And from episode 3 on, we established our kind of new recording setup, and my audio sounds a lot better, and that's the way we're going to go with from now on. So I'm very happy with the way our video content is right now. And I think, honestly, that is what kind of lit a fire under our asses this week.
And I also want to bring up something. I may pepper in a bit of a Doom 3 Let's Play as well.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that a little bit later also. Todd has been playing Doom 3 and recording content from that. That's going to be popping up on the YouTube channel. I don't know how you want to upload that.
I was thinking to myself, because you did send me a Snapchat. I think
Yeah.
I want to do it just in the midst, because we're doing the Ultimate Alliance bi-weekly.
Right.
I'm going to just tie that in, like maybe in the middle of the week.
Okay.
Like what is it? What days are we doing it? Tuesday and Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday and Tuesday is when Ultimate Alliance videos go live.
Maybe upload the Dooms on Thursday.
Okay. That'd be cool. So look forward to that. The point is, guys, a lot of video content. I think Todd and I both want to start making more and more video content from the YouTube channel, making it more than just a place to listen to the shows. It's going to have a lot of exclusive content as well that you can't just get from just listening to our stupid voices. So there's a lot going on there. We've always done the Let's Plays and stuff like that. We've always kind of had sporadic video content, but I think you can expect to see video content ratchet up.
Yeah, more consistent content.
More consistent and better quality.
Yeah.
So
I actually was debating on doing face cam for the Doom 3 playthrough.
that would be kind of funny, especially since I was there for the first episode, and even those jump scares were entertaining.
I can see. The thing is, I'm gonna if I do it, I actually am thinking about it. I need to find a really good place to put the webcam.
Yeah.
And the thing that's gonna suck about that for you is the way that you watch the gameplay.
Right.
If you do the dual com with me.
Right.
So it'll be interesting. Now, I do want to figure it out, because I do think there is moments that I think there's moments throughout like a lot of the Let's Plays that I've done where I've thought my facial reactions were probably, because I don't say anything during some of the shit, and I'm just like,
It would be something to see.
yeah. I think back to when I was doing Dark Souls, my dumb ass jumped off the edge and I legitimately face palmed. I was like, motherfucker. You remember that, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
But that's all the housekeeping I have. Let us get right into it, as we do every week. Todd, what have you been playing?
A lot of shit.
A lot of shit this week.
Been playing
Busy
some
week.
Smash. Been playing some Smash. Been playing some occasional Diablo vault runs. Been fucking with some Doom.
So where do you want to start with the discussion this week?
Let's start with Smash.
Okay. This week saw the Shadow Drop release of the hero, the Dragon Quest hero. So we put up a showcase video. It's yet another thing that we put up on the YouTube channel this week. Almost forgot. We put up a showcase video kind of showing off Todd and I playing a few rounds as the hero, showing off his stage, showing off his different skins, his alternate outfits or whatever, and just kind of showing you around the hero a little bit. Thoughts, Todd?
I want to make him one of my mains. He's right up my alley. He has. I do have. Of course, I have some issues with him. I don't like his standard attacks, for the most part.
Like his standard sword attacks.
Yeah, like that up down slash shit.
Yeah.
It's a little weak in my mind. But overall, he's just very interesting. And you know what I've realized? I'm telling you, I figured out the best way to do that beat that down B. Just don't give a shit. Just do whatever you land on.
Yeah, it kind of depends. There are some, it's
it's
funny.
gonna suck if you get kamikaze. That it's like if you accidentally oh shit.
Well, it's funny because I've been playing online a lot lately, and not surprisingly, there are a ton of people playing the hero right now.
Of course, everybody's just trying him out.
Yeah, so there are some people who are already really good with him, and the tact that I see a lot of people kind of taking with him is to just put as much distance between you and the enemy as possible, and just try as quickly as possible to get through the menu. And in fact, you'll often in a 4-player Smash, you'll see people playing hero, and they'll actually kind of break away from the combat specifically to rifle through their menu options.
Yeah, to see if they got anything good in the menu. I've seen some really just he just does a lot of just dirty shit, man. Like his just standard B, that flame that was I don't even remember the name.
That does a lot of damage.
Dude, if you
if
charge
it's
it all
fully
the way
charged,
up? So dude, and the thing about this, dude, if you can time this properly, I did it in I was just doing AI shit. Is I charged that all the way up, right? Mm-hmm. I had that charged all the way up, just chilling, waiting, and I did the side B, which is that lightning one.
Right.
Did a full charge of that. knocked the AI in the air and timed it perfectly, tossed the fireball at him.
Yeah, there's actually I have seen some very solid, already very solid hero players online who have just the strategies and the stuff that I've seen people pull off with hero is already so crazy because a big strategy online is like ledge control.
Mm-hmm.
And the hero's really good for that because his recovery is actually really good.
Yep.
And a lot of people use the recovery also, those little whirlwinds.
Yeah, as in, like, you can actually, like, if somebody's trying to do their own recovery, you can just do that, knock them down.
You can, well, not only that, but if somebody's already in the air, you can use air control for it and push them up off the screen.
God bless.
It's solid, man. I've seen people do some really solid stuff with the hero. Now, as you mentioned earlier, yes, his standard like slash attacks are a little weak, but he has to have some kind of downside.
Yeah, and that is his downside. Everything else is just so interesting. He's definitely, like, I think you've said it, and even like in the showcase, he's definitely the most interesting character.
Yeah,
that Smash has at the moment.
He's very interesting. I don't know if with sword characters and me don't really gel that well, but in terms of if I were to play one, he's definitely the one that I would fuck with.
Yeah.
He's a very interesting character. I like him a lot. And I like his stage. It's a flying stage, but it's cool. Like visually it's cool. Dragon Quest music is good. It's just if I were a big Dragon Quest fan, I'd be very happy. Obviously it's cool that they have all the skins in there from they've got 4 different skins from 4 different Dragon Quest games. Very good stuff. They just like they did for Joker, they've got a new kind of smattering on the spirit board also. And of course I've already done all that. I've already collected all the Dragon Quest spirits. Gotta stay at max, Todd.
You disgust me.
Gotta stay at my max spirit count. I think it's at 1336 now, the spirit board, if I'm not mistaken. I have them all. And I'm working on getting the last of my challenges. Soon I will have this game 100% completed. It's gross. You know what's funny though, because I've been playing a lot of Smash too, and because I've been working on getting my last few challenges, I have 2 challenges remaining, and they're both online challenges. So I've been doing a lot of like quick play online matches lately, and it has shown me, like, just watching people that are just frankly a lot better at Smash than I am, watching them play the game has really like shown me strategies that I wouldn't think of before, and just like ways to utilize characters that I wouldn't think of.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've watched people play, for example, like one of my mains, as you know, is Simon/Richter. I really like them a lot. And there's a guy that I played with that was just doing this ledge control using the fire attack that he has, like the firebomb attack and the throwing cross attack, just doing like this filthy, almost unprecedented ledge control with it that I'm like, I'm totally going to steal that. Like, that is absolutely going to be part of my Simon/Richter play from now on. You know, it's just the kind of thing, like, you watch these higher level players do things that you wouldn't even think to do, and you incorporate it into your own strategy, you know?
Yeah.
It's cool. It's been fun. I've been getting humbled. I'm losing more games than I'm winning.
Yeah, I made that joke when you first told me you were going to start doing that. I'm like, get ready to get humbled, boy.
You know, it's not as bad as you might think. I definitely lose more games than I win, but it's probably like 60-40. Like, I probably win like 40% of them. It's not as dire as you might think, but yeah. So, but the big thing, as we alluded to earlier, that we both have been playing this week is we played through the campaign together of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. And before we talk about the game, we should talk about how we came about playing the game, because this is a funny story. Because, you know, we may have even mentioned on this podcast, we're like, yeah, like, we're interested in the game. I don't know if I want to pay full price for it. I don't, you know, maybe when it goes on sale, we'll check it out, blah, blah, blah. And, like, you kind of jokingly, one night, you were just kind of like, oh, I'll just fucking buy it for you, ha, ha, ha. And, like, we were kind of joking about it. And then you're like, no, I'm not going to do that. Fuck that. And I was like, yeah, don't do that. That's a big waste of money. And then I wake up the next morning and I just have a code in my inbox.
So, my point, like, it's funny is how quick I did it after you jumped off. It was maybe 15 minutes, if not a shorter amount of time. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, fuck it. I get paid. Fuck it.
It was just hilarious. I go to bed thinking in my head, like, ha ha ha, that was funny. Good night. And then I wake up and I just see a code in my inbox. I'm like, oh, all right then.
Could have been a code for anything. No.
That would have been really funny if it was a code for like Fire Emblem or something like that. But no, so yeah, Todd basically he bought me a copy of Marvel Ultimate Alliance.
I said this, I think, multiple times in this playthrough that I don't regret spending $120.
I will say it was worth it because, and I think you'll agree with me, the game's great.
It's fantastic.
It's really fun. We had a blast, and you'll see the Let's Play series that we have posting on YouTube again. That starts tomorrow at the time you're listening to this, August 3rd. That starts, and it will be going on twice a week, every Saturday and Tuesday. New episodes are released for that at noon every Saturday and Tuesday. So you'll get to see us doing our playthrough live, and it was just, man, it was just a blast. Like I really really like this game a lot more than I expected to. Where to begin talking about it? Just it scratches a particular itch.
That's another thing I said while playing it. I'm like, it's scratching an itch I didn't know I had. You gave me a lot of shit for like being like so like depressed lately.
This gave you a pickup.
It did give me a pickup, but I mean, obviously, I thrive in my depression, but
This lifted your spirits.
It lifted my spirits, and I think, again, it is the game that I think we have to give thanks for this steady stream of content that's about to be coming out. Like, it woke something up in both of us, in a way. And, shit, it's great. I love the game. I got my boy Hulk.
Yes.
Which was my main, like, the entire time. Like, I did, like, kind of play around with some other characters, but in my heart, I knew who I'd be playing.
You knew from the start. Your heart belonged to Hulk.
I'm a big Hulk fan. Always have been.
Yeah, I settled into Wolverine really early on.
Yeah.
And we kind of stuck with those main characters as part of our team makeup.
Yep.
Obviously, it's team. Your team has got 4 kind of slots, and Todd, for some reason, I know why, but they kind of, when you're playing online co-op, the host can switch between 3 of the characters, or however many, between the free characters, basically.
Yeah, the other player, which I was player 2, is stuck with a certain character.
Yeah, they're stuck to the one character they choose. So that I think is a little bit weird. I'm sure they just do it for server reasons. I'm sure it would have introduced some problems if, like.
So I know exactly why they do it, because these other characters in a way are tied to your game, because all of like the levels that you got on those characters, all mine are the base level.
That's true too. Yeah. Because my Hulk is like level 6.
Exactly, and my Hulk is like 56,
right?
Something shit like that.
Yeah, so that's something too. That's another good point. Yeah, the fact that the host basically is the progress that is being carried.
Yes. Because if it's like, if I like, my team is, everybody in my game is like low level as fuck. It's like cool.
But the game, the thing that I think I was surprised about is the game is like nerdy as hell.
Oh, dude.
Which I was really like pleasantly surprised to learn. There is leveling and abilities and like min-maxing and grinding. Like, there's a lot to the game that I didn't expect. There's a lot of depth there.
Oh, dude, it gets crazy with the lab menu.
Yes.
The alliance enhancement and the ISO 8 shit.
So there's several different things. So yeah, so the alliance enhancement is where you can spend the credits that you earn in the game in combination with enhancement points, which, by the way, a really good way to earn enhancement points is by leveling up your low-level characters.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of encourages you to branch out and level up some of your guys that you wouldn't normally fuck with, because then you can get more enhancement points to put into your alliance enhancement. And with your alliance enhancement is essentially this enormous... It reminds me of the sphere grid from Final Fantasy X. It's this enormous, like, hexagon dot matrix array of passive upgrades that your entire team, your entire alliance, every character in the game benefits from, which is really interesting. And then you have the ISO 8, which are these crystals that you're getting constantly, and they actually play into the story. The ISO 8 crystals are kind of like... How would I describe them? There are some that are, like, completely beneficial. But then there are some that kind of have, like, trade-off, like increased light attack damage, but decreased defense against light attacks or whatever. Like they'll have, like, a give and a take kind of thing to them. And you can level them up and increase their effectiveness. And there's just a lot of, like, little things to tweak your characters. Your character has 4 upgradable abilities. There are different combinations that you can have with your team makeup that gives you, like, different bonuses.
By the way, I must say something. Am I the only one that thinks that, like, new abilities are going to be available?
Yeah, you think so?
Dude, because you can unequip them.
Yeah, I could see that. Maybe that's something they'll work on with DLC or something. That'd be interesting.
Like, I don't know why you'd be able to, like, even, like, unequip them at all if you just didn't give a shit to use them. But I mean, you can choose to use them, you know?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe that's just something they wanted to have in there. I'm not sure. Or maybe can you slot the same ability into 2 different face buttons?
Why would you do that, though?
Because maybe it's for people who really want to get stupid about it, and they're like, well, maybe I want to fucking hit whatever button I hit, it does this ability. I don't have to think about it. You know?
I guess.
Maybe. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. Either way, it's dumb. But no, there's a lot of like little tiny customization percent. It's like, if you're the type of motherfucker who loves to agonize over grinding over a thing that's going to give you like 0.5 extra damage, you know what I mean? It's that kind of thing. This game is definitely that. And then there's the campaign, which took us around 7 hours to play through on the normal difficulty. The mighty difficulty, as it were. It took us about 7 hours, maybe a little less, which I think is a fine length for the game. It was pretty much all killer, no filler for the most part.
Yeah.
There was one level that I wasn't crazy about. But even that only accounts for about, 10 minutes?
Yeah, I'm so happy that level was short.
For the most part, the game, 99% of the game is a lot of fun. I really like...
say one thing.
What's that?
Spoilers. The Inhumans suck.
Yeah, the Inhumans aren't good. Stop trying to make the Inhumans happen. It's not going to happen. But again, every other level, though, I thought was really good. I really had a good time. If I had one complaint about the level design, it's that, they try to shoehorn these puzzles in that are just,
Yeah, and they're just asinine, just too easy.
They're so... Yeah, and I understand you want to make it simple for, kids. There's going to be kids that play this game.
Oh, yeah, of course.
There's going to be young kids. This is the kind of game I could give to my nephew, Sean, and he could just kind of, button mash his way through it and have a great time.
But at that point, it's kill the puzzles, just add more enemies.
Yeah, at that point, I'm just I don't know why you have the puzzles at all. It was...
The one that, comes to mind is the that one... with the fucking
statues.
Yes, the black turtle, white tiger shit.
Well, and they do that twice.
Yes,
and it's never more complicated. It's basically just match the color. The first time you do it, it's quite literally just push the statue to the nearby.
Yeah, the other one is
square.
Let's rearrange it a little bit, and then.
It feels completely out of place, and the thing about it is the game doesn't really do puzzles other than that. They just kind of shoehorned it into that level.
The only other thing that could be considered a puzzle is when you are in. I don't give a shit. It's Avengers Tower or whatever.
Yes,
it's that whole thing we're gonna go through the laser grid.
Right.
It's not really a puzzle. It's kind of a puzzle, but not really.
That's maybe a little bit of a puzzle, yeah. Well, and there's the whole thing, turning the doors off and on. There's some very light, very very light. I mean, it's like the kind of tier of like if you've played like a Lego game with your kids, for example. It's like that kind of level. Like I think most people will be able to just brute force their way through all of these puzzles. There was the only thing like that where they kind of, and I understand you want to break up the monotony of just fighting dudes. I get that. There are some effective uses of that though. Like for example, they will occasionally throw in elements of like you're being chased by the Juggernaut, for example.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do. You just got to run. And that, I think, was a good way of breaking it up. Or there was a level, there's a point in the Shadowland level with Kingpin where you're having to avoid the spotlights.
Yeah.
That I thought was kind of, it was kind of like...
That's a way better, like, you know, I agree with you completely on that.
And that was one of those things where it was funny, and you'll see this if you watch the video series, just the juxtaposition of the way I play games and the way Todd plays games.
Yep.
Because I'm sitting there trying to explore every nook and cranny, and I'm waiting patiently for these spotlights. I'm like, all right, if I go just no, oh, and there's Todd. Like you would just like charge through it basically, and not even think about it, and get further than I would.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
You just YOLO it.
I'm gonna tell you this. I feel like if I really put like effort into like speed running, I feel like I'd be really good.
You have the mentality for it.
I live my life in that mentality of speed running.
But you know, so there's some things that I think are solid ways to break up the monotony, and I think they succeed at some of it and fail at some of it. But by and large, the visuals of the game I think are a lot of people have like given the visuals a lot of shit.
They're fine.
I think it's totally fine. It's an art style thing. The game doesn't, for one, the game doesn't look bad, I don't think at all. But the colors are very vibrant. There's a lot of variety to the levels. And that's one of the things that I really liked about the first Ultimate Alliance game that I think this game kind of recaptures. Like, when 1 minute you're in the raft, the next minute you're in Wakanda, the next minute you're on the streets of New York, and then maybe you're in space and nowhere. You know, maybe you're in Asgard. Like you're going to all of these different corners of the Marvel universe. And just visually it always looks interesting, and the thing that Marvel Ultimate Alliance has always done so well is also present here in the third one, where they include these kind of obscure characters that you don't often get to see. You know, not even just in the way of playable characters. They have worked in a few obscure playable characters, but even in terms of the villains, it's nice to see these kind of like underrepresented Marvel villains.
What's one that comes to your mind?
Well, for example, in the Wakanda level, right? The main boss of that level is MODOK, right? Yeah.
I love MODOK, man.
And I love MODOK, and you don't get to see MODOK very much, and it's just nice to see.
That was just a good MODOK. Had the voice that you want to hear. It's so good.
And that's another thing. I'm glad you said that, because the voice work in this game is really good. Mm-hmm. And some of the character designs are really good. Like, in terms of the voice work, this is basically a who's who of like, hey, take this iconic voice representation of this character. That's the version we have in this game. It's like Steve Bloom is Wolverine, and Yuri Lowenthal from the PS4 Spider-Man. He's Spider-Man in this game. You know, you take all of these great portrayals of these characters, and that's essentially basically the person who did the definitive work of voicing those characters is essentially that person in this game, which is really cool to see. So the voice cast is phenomenal, and the designs. I mean, they stick pretty close to the comics versus the movies, which I appreciate. Like design wise, it feels like they're taking cues from the comics versus which you might be tempted to go the movie route with these designs, and they don't. I respect that. When you see Claw in this game, he doesn't look like Andy Serkis.
Oh yeah, those definitely doesn't.
He looks like comic book Claw, and when you see like certain The way certain characters look, they don't quite look like they do in the movies, which I like. It feels like a Marvel comic with just a who's who of characters that are fun to play. A lot of like min-maxy stuff that is in there for the hardcore RPG fan. And it's just a nice, like, brainless kind of like hack and slash. It's just fun to turn your brain off and just brawl your way through these levels. And if you want something a little more complicated, they have the Infinity Rifts, which are sort of like individualized challenges that are interesting. We just started digging into those. And while you're messing with that, you can unlock different costumes for characters. There are certain characters that can only be unlocked through the Infinity Rifts. These Infinity Rifts are kind of like scattered throughout the levels as you're playing the single player mode. There is good incentive to replay the campaign on the harder difficulties. So I'm sure we're going to end up doing at least a superior playthrough at some point. So the game's just a lot of fun. And it's a game that I'm going to keep singing the praises of because I want this game to do well. I want to see another Marvel Ultimate Alliance game on Switch. The Switch, I think, is a perfect home for Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I hope they kind of keep up this partnership. The game runs well. I mean, I really don't have any major complaints about the game. It's been a blast. We've had a lot of fun with this game. So, I don't know. Is there anything I'm missing? Is there anything you think we still need to touch on talking about it?
I'm legitimately, I want to look this up. I want to make sure. I want to see this real quick. I don't think they just got Yuri. I think they got the Miles from the game too.
That sounds about right. I mean, they got everybody. Basically the definitive actor.
Yep. Yeah, Miles from the same voice actor that did it in the recent Spider-Man game also.
Right. I mean, awesome. if you think of the definitive voice actor for a Marvel character, they got the entire cast from like the Telltale Guardians game plays the Guardians here. You know, Nolan North is Deadpool, of course. Nolan North is Rocket. So I mean, everybody's here. It just feels nice. Like it feels like a nice culmination of all of these iconic voices for these iconic characters.
Yeah.
So good
also
stuff.
Green Goblin, best design.
Green Goblin's design in this game is really good. Really good Green Goblin design. I love it. It might be my favorite Green Goblin design just ever.
I agree. And
I love it.
Best boss fight too.
That is definitely in the upper echelon of the boss fights. Except for maybe the final fight.
Yeah.
That is definitely probably is one of the better boss fights for sure.
It's easily top 5.
Oh yeah. Yeah. But really good game. Really loved it. We're going to continue playing it. You may even see we've got our video series for the complete campaign playthrough. You might see some more Ultimate Alliance videos in the future, especially since DLC is on the way. I imagine we're going to be recording ourselves playing through we've got story content coming, we've got new characters coming, so it is going to be a little bit of a
Moon Knight. No.
Yes. It is going to be kind of a little bit of an evergreen game for us. So you can expect to hear us talking about Marvel Ultimate Alliance for a long time to come, Todd. What else? We got to talk about Doom a little bit.
Of course.
So this is actually something that I was going to talk about in the news section. The first 3 Doom games were stealth released this week on PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. And you picked them up. You picked all of them up, right?
Yeah, I did. And I've played it. I played a little bit of Doom. Played a little bit of Doom too.
Now that was your first time playing these games, correct?
I wouldn't say the first times.
Okay.
But like, again, Todd in the middle.
So it was your first real time playing these games.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I kind of wanted to jump on and just kind of check them out, just because I don't remember. I feel like I have played Doom 1 at least, but it's just like it's been like God knows how long. And I will say this: how well that the Doom 2016 captures that vibe, in such a big bad way, is impressive to me. And then I'm playing Doom 3, and I'm like, God, this does not play like Doom. It just does not. It just does not play like Doom at all. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me very heavily. You said it actually in the first part of the video, first part of the playthrough. Is like the game kind of came out around like like Half-Life and shit.
Yeah.
Plays a lot like that. Plays a lot like the old the Fear games. It's it's just a standard shooter, which is fine, but
they took Doom from being this kind of like fast, fluid, kind of like just gameplay focused shooter, and they tried to make it story based. Again, they didn't really know what to do with Doom in like the early 2000s. The game came out in 2004, and they just didn't. I mean, this is like in a post Half-Life, post Halo world.
Yeah.
And they were just trying to like make Doom make sense in that world, in the early 2000s world. And look, Doom 3 is the product of its time, for better or for worse. Yep. And the fact that the game is still like halfway decent despite that, I think is a credit to the game.
It's funny as I'm playing through it, I am doing a complete series. I don't know if I'm going to do the DLCs.
The DLCs are fun, and they're short too. So I mean,
I don't know. I will see how I feel like once I beat it. But now, because I'm like playing through Doom 3, it's like, shit, should I do a Doom Eternal Let's Play?
I am looking forward to playing Doom Eternal. I'm not gonna get it at launch. This fall is just too busy. But I am gonna play it. Make no mistake.
When does that game come out?
It comes out. I think it comes out the week after Jedi Fallen Order comes out.
Fuck.
It comes out like at the end of November, like November, I think 22nd.
I swear, I think I just the amount of bullshit coming out of the.
There's just too much. There's just too much.
Garbage.
Way too much. And it's one of those things where, like, don't get me wrong, I'm hyped to play it. I just don't think I'm going to play it at launch.
Yeah.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But, yeah, no, I picked those up, too. I picked up Doom 1, actually. So they released these games like $5 for Doom 1 and 2. And then Doom 3 is only $10. So, I mean, you can literally pick up Doom 1 through 3 for $20.
Yeah, that's how I was like, fuck it, why not?
I picked up Doom 1 on Switch, and they're really good ports. They're really good, like, widescreen aspect ratio ports. The Doom on Switch, they actually utilize the HD Rumble really well. I like that a lot. And just a really smooth, solid port of Doom. And I think Doom, the original game, still holds up like extraordinarily well. I just sat there and just played through the whole thing in like 2 sittings. It's just fun. Like it just holds up. Good gameplay just holds up. You don't necessarily need some complex story with all these NPCs and slow trudging introductions. You just get into it. Just let me shoot demons.
Mm-hmm.
That's what Doom 2016 did. And that's why that game is as good as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else you want to bring up before we move into the news, Todd?
I think that's it. Let's jump into the news.
Yeah, the games that I've been playing have been largely with you, so I don't really have anything to report on that field. It's been a lot of Marvel for me, a lot of Smash. That's been the majority.
Covered it in one go.
Pretty much. Pretty much. So the first news item I've got here is about Doom. Like I said, the first 3 Doom games stealth released in the middle of QuakeCon/DoomCon, whatever the hell they're calling it, for PS4, Xbox One, and Switch. 16.9 aspect ratio, dual stick controls, HD Rumble on the Switch. However, the reason this is newsworthy is that players were surprised when booting up the game that they were prompted to log into their Bethesda.net account in order to play Doom 1 and 2. And it's not something that you could simply opt out of, despite the fact that the games are an entirely offline experience. So there's no online multiplayer for Doom 1 and 2 at all. It's all single player, all local. And they were requiring you to log into your Bethesda.net account. Even though the login was only required to be performed once, it was still enough to generate plenty of anger with fans and, of course, plenty of memes.
Of course. Bethesda does anything wrong, it's like, you stupid bitches.
You stupid motherfuckers. I'm going to end this man's entire career.
Motherfucker. How many times we got to teach you this lesson, old man?
Yeah, basically. Now, Bethesda did say that this mandatory login was actually not intentional. The login feature was added to reward members of the Slayers Club, which I guess
it's merely a feature.
Yeah, I guess the Slayers Club is some sort of like Doom fan thing that they have on Bethesda.net. And the login feature was added so that members of the Slayers Club could log in and be rewarded for playing these ports. And the login was supposed to be completely optional and is going to be fixed in a patch. So that happened, but it was too late. The internet already set fire to it. But don't let that discourage you from getting the ports. Maybe wait for the patch to come down before grabbing them if you want to. You could honestly, if it's really such a big deal, if you don't have a Bethesda.net account, you could even give them like a bogus email just to get through the login. And it doesn't matter. You just have to do the login once, and it never matters again. But otherwise, you could just wait for the patch. Again, don't let it dissuade you from grabbing these ports. They're really excellent ports, and it's nice to have the entire Doom series under one roof. And that includes Switch, because Doom 2016 is on Switch, and Doom Eternal is going to be on Switch. So you can literally have the entire Doom series on the go if you want. Now, talking about some sales stuff, Todd. We had some juicy sales numbers, because June 30th marked the end of the second quarter for a lot of the manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So we do expect that the PlayStation 5 will launch next fall, but that is not stopping the PlayStation 4 from enjoying record sales. Sony announced this week that the PS4 has crossed 100 million units sold between the console's 2014 launch and June 30th of this year. This means that the PS4 met the 100 million milestone faster than even the wildly successful PS2 and Wii did.
Shit.
So 100 million PS4s have been sold finally. They hit the milestone. We all knew they were going to. They hit it. So congratulations, Sony and PlayStation 4. The console, obviously a massive success. Speaking of massive successes, Todd, the Switch train shows no signs of stopping. As of June 30th, the Switch has sold 36.87 million units.
Wow. Since
its launch in early 2017. This means that the Switch has now outsold the N64's lifetime sales and has nearly tripled the Wii U's lifetime sales in less than 2.5 years on market.
I'm not surprised by any of that. Personally, that's not that surprising.
And by the way, and this is something that we'll talk about later in the show, this has been a weak year for video games. And this has been a weak year for Switch releases. That number, the 36.87 million, it's going to skyrocket after this fall, because the Switch has got some heavy hitters coming this fall. On September 20th, the Switch Lite launches, and so does Link's Awakening. Then on October 31st, Luigi's Mansion comes out. And then on November 15th, Pokemon Sword and Shield comes out. I mean, the Switch is going to have a banner holiday 2019, for sure. By the time we hit the Switch's third birthday in March, I would not be shocked at all for us to be in the high 50, low 60 million unit sold range. I would not be surprised if they literally sell another 20 million Switches between now and next March. We'll see. We'll see where we fall on that. Either way, wildly successful console. The Switch train is not stopping. I've got a couple of surprises here. So, in a surprise announcement, developer Obsidian Entertainment has revealed that they will be practicing some black magics, Todd, and they will be porting their game The Outer Worlds to Switch.
I did hear about that.
No release date for the port was given. The game is still on track for release on PC, PS4, and Xbox One on October 25th. We don't know when the Switch port is coming, but it is coming. And I gotta say, that's crazy. The fact that a game like that is going to be playable on Switch, I don't understand how some of these people can get these games running on Switch.
I mean, it's going to be, from what I've seen, it's mainly textures that take a hit.
It seems that way, but I mean, it's actually like pretty minor setbacks. Like if you put a copy of Doom on Switch and a copy of Doom on PS4 side to side, of course the PS4 version looks better. But the fact that you can still get Doom running on Switch and it doesn't look like that bad and it runs smooth and it actually plays well is like kind of fucking remarkable. Cause like there's no contest. It's not, the Switch is nowhere near as powerful as the PS4 is. But these developers, I mean, Wolfenstein is coming out on Switch consistently. The Wolfenstein games, including the new one that just came out, launches day and date on Switch. And these big games launch on Switch. These big graphics heavy games, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised that they're chasing after that. I'm surprised that they're succeeding at it. I mean, it's not like the days of old where like in the Wii U days you couldn't just own a Wii or a Wii U. You know what I mean? Because the third party support was just garbage. It's not really like that anymore. If you were a gamer that just owned a Switch, I don't think you'd be missing out on like all that much.
Other than like the real deal like exclusive shit from other consoles.
Yeah, you wouldn't be really missing a whole lot. I mean, you'd be missing some stuff, of course, but I mean, you could be a pretty happy solo Switch gamer if you really wanted to. To that end, I probably haven't played a PS4 game. I actually played a PS4 game since I finished my time with Odyssey like a month ago. So I hardly touch my PS4 these days.
I'm still primarily PS4, and I will be heavy. I'm always going to be heavy duty PS4 until next gen.
Now, when I will be playing my PS4, Todd, is going to be in October, because it has been revealed that the long-awaited PS4 exclusive indie game Concrete Genie is coming October 8th. You remember this game?
Which one was that one?
Concrete Genie. This is a puzzle platforming game that kind of has this painterly art style where you...
Is it the one where he's like going around with a brush?
Yeah, he's going around with a brush.
Yeah, like kind of neon color shit?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I remember that one.
Yes. So I'm very excited. This is a game I've had my eye on since they announced it like 2 years ago. Made by a little indie team called Pixel Opus. I think their first game was that Entwined game. You remember that? That free game that they released like... I think it was like announced and released at E3 back in like 2015 or something like that. It was weird. Anyway, they're making this game Concrete Genie. You play this little boy, I think his name's Ash, and you like paint these imaginary friends on the walls and kind of go through the world solving puzzles. The game looks beautiful, and I can't wait. It's coming out October 8th. They're only charging $30 for it. It's $29.99, so this is definitely on my radar. Can't wait. That's all I've got for video game news. Moving on to film and TV news, Todd. You'd best prepare that sweet little bladder for It Chapter 2 when it releases this September.
My bladder?
Yes, because the movie's runtime has been revealed.
Oh, shit. Is it long?
2 hours and 45 minutes.
Ooh, shit.
It has also been confirmed that a director's cut of the film will be released, as the movie's original runtime was nearly 4 hours long.
Fuck.
Before they started cutting it for release, this movie was almost 4 hours long.
My God.
Here's the deal. They're having to adapt a 1,000-page novel.
Yeah.
And you can just tell, even based on the first one, I mean, you can just tell that they're taking this seriously and they're treating this movie with care and they want to actually do the book justice. Mm-hmm. And look, that's going to require a long movie. You know what I mean? So
I'm so ready for that movie, man.
Oh, I can't wait. Director Andy Muschietti had this to say. He says, quote, "A movie is very different when you're writing the script and you're building a story compared to what the final product is. At the beginning, when you're writing and building the beats of the story, everything that you put in there seems to be very essential to the story. However, when you have the movie finally edited and it's 4 hours long, you realize that some of the events and some of the beats can be easily lifted, but the essence of the story remains intact. Mm-hmm. You cannot deliver a 4-hour movie because people will start to feel uncomfortable," end quote.
Oh, that's just real shit.
But I'll tell you what, when it comes out on like Blu-ray and I can sit there and just watch the 4-hour director's cut,
yeah, I will do it.
You better believe I'm going to do it.
That's a different story. Watching it in the comfort of your own home versus watching it in the theater, I can sit there. I sit on my ass for like hours on hours, you know? Like, I don't give a shit.
But you can't ask people to go to the theater anymore and spend 4 hours in the theater.
No, hell no. That shit's over with.
So, but look, I mean...
Shit, 2 hours and 45 minutes is cutting it close, you know?
That's a long time. I mean, that's like Endgame, levels, So, yeah, you're going to come in with your Endgame strategies when you're going to watch it chapter 2, because it's going to be a long one.
You got to go in dry.
Yeah, go in dry. Don't eat or drink anything before you watch that movie. You got to make sure your system is cleansed. Last bit of news I got here, still in the film and TV realm, and this is something that we kind of talked about in private, but I wanted to talk about it on the show. Amazon seems to be gearing up production on their big-budget Lord of the Rings show for Amazon Prime Video.
Mm-hmm.
The show has revealed it's nailed down its writer's room, and it's got veteran writers of shows like Breaking Bad, Hannibal, The Sopranos, Stranger Things.
Hannibal, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, there's some Game of Thrones writers on the show as well. So, what do you make of this? I mean, this is a big budget Lord of the Rings show coming from Amazon, and they're putting some money behind it.
I'm curious to see like what they're gonna do with it. You know, like what are they gonna tackle?
Right. I wonder if it's gonna be. I mean, are they literally going to be like retelling the events of the book with a TV show format?
But at that point, can they get into more of the weird shit? Like you know, the movies don't touch on everything.
Right. Well, that's what I'm curious about, because the movies don't touch on literally everything. So, will this show be a different take on the book's material and kind of stay more true to the book? Because the thing that I don't think the movies I enjoy those movies for what they are. I think they're vastly overrated. I like them.
Whoa, Seth. You thought something was overrated? Oh my god.
Yeah, I know, right?
Go on.
Shocking. They're vastly over. I like those movies. Don't get me wrong; they're good, and I'll watch them any day of the week. I like them. Saw them all in theaters. They're good, but they do not capture the tone that the books do.
Mm-hmm.
That's what always really bummed me out. The books are fucking sad. The big message that the book has at the end of the day is kind of like, it's almost like a vibe of like, we saved the world, but was the world worth saving? It's almost like are we okay with what we had to do to get where we are?
Mm-hmm.
And are we the same people when we cross the finish line? The movies don't really capture that for me. And I think ultimately that's why when we come to the conclusion of the Lord of the Rings movies, like, it was good, I liked it, but it did not have that same vibe.
So, you don't think the movie captures like they aren't the same people at the end?
No,
of
it tackles that a little bit, but it doesn't.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it definitely does that.
It tackles that a little bit, but it's not really the way that the movie approaches it is almost like, oh, we're different people. Look at this amazing journey we went on. No. The books are not like, oh, look at this amazing journey we went on. The books are like,
no.
Fuck that. Was it worth doing everything we just did?
No.
Was it worth the changes that I've made to me as a person?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what was it all worth it? It wasn't some incredible epic journey that we look back on with fondness and kiss each other on the forehead. It wasn't like that.
Hell.
It was horrible. And the person I am now is horrible, and I'm not okay with it. Like, that's kind of the vibe that the books have that I don't think the movie really captures.
Yeah.
As much as the movies, you know, the production quality, I mean, don't get me wrong, the movies do a lot of things really well, but I would really like to see this Amazon series kind of tackle the darker nature of the books and the character study of the books that I don't think is really touched upon in the movies. That would be cool. And it'd be cool to get into the minutia of it a little bit. You can kind of marinate on shit a little bit more when you're talking about a TV series. So, and look, they've got a stellar, you know, star-studded writers' room. So we'll have to see. I'm
looking forward to seeing like when people start getting like cast.
Right. Or even just learning about what it is. I mean, it's nice that they're gearing up for it, but
I swear, I feel like fucking. You know, Ian McKellen actually said he would do Gandalf again.
I think Orlando Bloom said the same thing. Like he's like, I'll come back as Legolas.
Well, yeah, it's like, I don't. Will they do it though? Who knows?
I kind of don't want them to be honest.
I mean, I respect that they would be willing to come back.
Of course, they're iconic for those roles and stuff. But I would kind of like to just see. I just want to divorce myself from those movies Like I would really enjoy it if, we have this really, really good Lord of the Rings TV show.
Yeah, it's just a complete fresh take.
Just a totally fresh take, much darker and much more true to the tone of the book than these movies were. These movies have a sense of like just I don't know. There's a sense of like adventuring camaraderie that I think they lean into a little too hard.
Yeah, I feel that.
I don't know. That's just my personal take. So cool to see that they're gearing up for this. I'm excited to learn what this might be. Of course, you got to get some Game of Thrones writers on there. You got to imagine Game of Thrones was probably a big inspiration for this. Amazon, now that Game of Thrones is over, Amazon's like, oh, I want my Game of Thrones.
It's the mentality of Far From Home. Who will be the next Tony Stark?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and Netflix is doing the same thing with the Witcher, right? So
yeah,
everybody wants their Game of Thrones. Who will be the next Game of Thrones? There
will never be another Game of Thrones. Didn't you watch Far From Home? Damn it! No.
That's what I got for the news, Todd. Shall we move into our topic?
Let's do it.
To end the show.
Let's fucking go.
So, I was talking to you about this. We are now more than halfway through the year. We're into August now. We're in the bottom half of the year. We're about to get into the holiday clusterfuck. It's about to happen. It's about to be a real thing. And I was thinking back on the year past, and I just wanted to talk about our kind of... I don't want to get too crazy about it. Maybe talk about our top 3 favorite games of the year so far. And just talk about 2019 that was. The 2019 that is behind us. So, why don't you start? Give me your number 3 favorite game of the year so far.
Ooh, shit. Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Yeah. Just gonna go for it, huh?
That's just straight number 1. Easily my favorite game I've played.
Oh, so that's your number 1.
Straight up.
Okay. I was gonna go in ascending order, but that's all right.
Too bad. Bitch.
All right.
I'm the captain now.
Okay, fuck it. We'll go in descending order then.
Descend these nuts.
So Marvel's your favorite game you've played all year?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is compared to everything else?
Because at the moment, it's honestly the most fun I've had all year.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm like, I was looking at the releases. I'm like, holy shit! Like, there was just not a lot of like quality shit. Like I've played like Rage 2, but I wouldn't say like it'd be one of my favorite games that I've played.
It's been a weak year. It's been a really weak year for me.
So at that point, I'd say like at this point, it'd be like, I was like trying to like when I was like first coming up with this list, I'm like, what would be number 2 and what would be number 3? Like at this point, I'd have to say the 2 and 3s ain't gonna really matter. You can go talk to me and like tomorrow would probably change. It's between Apex and Devil May Cry 5.
Uh-huh.
And that's yeah.
I was actually surprised that you wouldn't say that Apex was your number 1.
Oh no, I don't know. I love it. Oh, yeah, no, it's not number 1 though.
Yeah.
I can easily, now that I'm thinking about it, I'd say Apex is 2, Devil May Cry is 3.
It's funny because it has been just a weak year. Like for me, just in general, the first half of the year, I kind of I composed a list of literally everything that I've played, even if I'd only played it for like 10 minutes, and it was just a short list, man. And the games that I actually had beaten was even shorter. I mean, a lot of the games that I've spent a lot of time with this year are games that came out a year, 2 years ago.
Yeah, that's shit. The other game I've been playing like Realm Royale. That's like that didn't come out this year.
Well, it's like I put like 130 hours into Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I've put like 85 hours into Xenoblade. Those games didn't come out this year though. And it's funny because thinking on it, I'm a little bit glad that the first half of this year was kind of light, because it did give me that opportunity to go back, tackle the backlog a bit.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Like if this year had been like boom boom boom, I probably wouldn't have played Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Well, yeah, deadass, you probably wouldn't have.
And so I kind of have to be appreciative of that because I ended up loving that game and spending so much time with it. And same with Xenoblade. So in a way, I'm a little bit thankful that the first 6 months of this year were as light as they were. But you know, in terms of my list, in terms of the most raw fun I actually had, I would probably agree that that playthrough of Marvel that we did was probably the most singular hit of dopamine that I had.
Like, to accurately describe, like, the closest thing that I've had of, like, that experience with you was when we played Master Chief Collection.
Yeah. Well, it's just a fun, like, it's just nice.
I would love to replay those again.
Oh, yeah.
God.
It was just a fun playthrough. Like, it was just a lot of fun. It wasn't anything fancy. It's like the kind of vibe of, like, yeah, we could go to like a fancy restaurant, or we could just go to White Castle and pound a crave case. And that's what Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 is. It's going to White Castle and pounding a crave case.
We're not eating them cold, though.
But that's what it is. So I would probably, if I were ranking them, I would probably give it my number 3. My number 2, I would say, would be Kingdom Hearts 3, which was the first real game that I played this year. Kingdom Hearts 3, just I have problems with it, and I like it less and less as time goes on, to be honest with you. But overall, that game was still, especially in the moment that I played it, I played it obsessively every chance that I got until I finished it. I ended up putting like 80 hours into it, and I played it nonstop until I had the platinum. And you know, I can't stress enough what it was like to wait like 14 years for that game and to finally get it. So I have to tip my hat to Kingdom Hearts 3 just for even existing and for being half as good as it ended up being. Because I think that game did a lot of things right. So Kingdom Hearts 3 is a lot of fun. My number 1, though, still is Katana Zero. Honestly. The best game that I've played so far this year is a little indie game that is on Switch and PC called Katana Zero. I talked about it on the show back when I played it. I honestly have not played a better game than that this year. That game is pretty flawless. It tells a good story, an intriguing mystery plot. It's got fast, visceral, frenetic gameplay. It's got a beautiful pixel art style. It's got a fucking phenomenal soundtrack. It checks all the boxes. Katana Zero, and you know, moreover, the game's like $15. It's short. You can beat Katana Zero in a handful of hours. You could probably beat Katana Zero in one sitting. But it's really, really good. And it's certainly going to get toppled now that we're getting into the fall and we're going to get into these bigger releases, but it's still heads and shoulders above most of the games I played this year. When I look at the releases this year, I'm just like, the first half of the year was not crazy. Is there anything that you want to shout out, though?
Well, like just random games.
Games that you did
good.
play that you want to tip your hat to.
Or games that came out this year, or any game that I've played this year?
Well, just in general, yeah.
Realm Royale.
Yeah.
Solid fucking game.
I will tip my hat to... Devil May Cry 5 was good for a solid playthrough.
Yeah, it definitely was. It's also one of those games where I hate seeing people that are really good at that game. It's it's actually disgusting to me. Because I'm just like, God.
Like, you're not going to see DMC 5 on my end of the year list, but it was a good playthrough. It was a fun romp. I sort of regret buying it at launch, but it was fun. For what it was fun.
I'll say this. If it ends up being on my list, it's going to be like 10.
There's basically no way it's going to end up on my list. I do want to tip my hat, a small tip, but I do want to tip my hat to Far Cry New Dawn.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that game.
Yeah, we played through that game together, did a whole video series on it. It was fine.
That game come out this year?
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, sure did.
Fuck.
And it was good. Like, I liked it.
The story was just dog shit.
That game started off so much better than it ended. Like that game just ends in such a weird place.
Problem solver. Problem.
I want to shout out Cadence of Hyrule, really good indie game. Zelda Rhythm RPG, I really liked it. That was a good game. Mario Maker 2, which we've talked about plenty of times, is a game that I spent a lot of time with. Don't think it's the kind of game that's going to end up on like my end of the year list, but Mario Maker 2 is really good. And that's kind of like the highlights of the year for me so far. There's not been much. I mean, I put a lot of time into Yoshi's Crafted World, but would I consider it something I would recommend? Not really. So I struggle with the first half of this year. But as I said, it allowed me to clean up some of these backlog games. It did allow me to play Xenoblade, which I ended up loving, and Assassin's Creed, which I loved. So,
and it gets us ready to prepare for the storm that's coming.
Because we have got, looking forward to the rest of this year. Starting really for me at the end of this month is really when the ass rape begins. Because, WoW Classic comes out on the 27th.
We're both going to be fucking with that.
That's going to be a thing. And then Astral Chain comes out on the 30th, which I've already got bought and preloaded.
I'm taking the hit on that. I'm not going to get it.
I'm going to get it. I'm going to play through it. I just...
You know what it is? I'm lying. I'm going to buy it, but I'm not going to play it for a while.
I may not play it for a while, too, but I did buy it.
Because I want to... The thing is with me is I just want to support that game.
Yeah. Yeah, so I've already got that ready to go. And then we've got... So for you, Monster Hunter comes out like a week after. Iceborne. A week after that is Borderlands 3, which is huge.
Yep.
That's a massive fucking game.
Those things right there, that it hurts my soul. I'm just like, why?
A week after
why do you have to come out?
A week after that, I've got Link's Awakening. And then Ni no Kuni comes out for PS4 and Switch that same day.
I still think it's funny. There was a chance I was going to play that until it said September.
The week after that is Dragon Quest XI S on the Switch, which I want to play. Like 2 weeks after that is when Concrete Genie comes out. At the end of October is when Luigi's Mansion comes out. And then once you get into November, you're talking about Jedi Fallen Order and Pokemon Sword and Shield, which also come out on the same day.
Oh, shit. God bless.
So, it is just a massive, massive fall. And I'm like, there's part of me's like, yeah, I can't wait. Part of me's like, oh, God.
It's like, I'm thinking back to it, I'm like, shit, dude, I barely game when I work.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Yeah. Well, that's all about to change, boy.
Shit, I'm going to have to find time.
You're going to have to make time. Especially between Borderlands and Monster Hunter.
Oh, dude, it's going to be one of those things, like, I feel like I'm going to be losing some sleep. Going to work with, like, 2 hours of sleep.
Let's get this bread.
Then it's like, wake up, just like, it's like, Todd, what's wrong? Nothing.
That's why there's been a small part of me that is, like, morbidly, secretly hoping that Jedi Fallen Order gets, like, pushed.
Shit.
Don't get me wrong, I'm hyped. I can't wait to play that game.
It needs some extra polishing.
I can't wait to play that game, but there is a small part of me that's like, push it to February or something. Just
give me some free months.
Give me some time.
And
give me some reprieve.
I'm still gonna be playing Borderlands and Iceborne at that point. And it's like, then like Pokemon and shit's gonna be out. Fuck.
At the rate I'm going, and then like you turn around, and you got Animal Crossing in March. At the rate I'm going, many of these games I'm gonna be playing well into 2020.
Yep. And the thing is, it's fucked. Is I plan on jumping back into Animal Crossing with this one.
Yeah, and the only reason that I'm even buying a lot of these at launch is because they're Nintendo games, and first-party Nintendo games don't drop in price. So it's like you might as well buy them now,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm really excited for Pokemon. Luigi's Mansion looks great. Like, it's like, fuck, man. There's so many good games coming out this fall. It's intense. It's going to be an intense fall, but we will, of course, be covering it all on Nerd Bourbon, Todd. And with that, I think that's going to do it for us this week. Unless you have anything else you want to add.
That's about it, man.
All right, let's pack it and ship it out to the kids at home, Todd. We'll catch you next week. Thanks for listening. Get fucking dunked on. Bye.
See ya.
Hey there, thanks for checking out another fantastic Nerd Bourbon video. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, be sure to go ahead and subscribe, leave us a like, drop us a nice comment, or I guess a mean one if that's your prerogative. But until next time, get dunked on.